Babe, it's on you. We're just getting situated. Good evening, people who are joined already.
Yeah. Chocolate Crown. What's up, B? This is episode 4, Chocolate Crown, and we not on CP time.
That's important.
It's 8:00. It's 8:00. But yeah, Chocolate Crowns episode 4. Pretty interesting weekend. Got a lot accomplished. If you can see the video, you actually can see our new logo up in the top corner. Chocolate Crown logo. So in the near future, there will be Chocolate Crown merch. So just be on the lookout for that. But yeah, episode 4, another healthy conversation with Miss Mary E. May Butterfly Law.
Hey, Mr. Fletcher, how you doing this evening?
No complaints. I'm doing well.
Did you want to show, I know it's early on, we might need to show it again a little later, but for those who are looking on Facebook, we can show them our logo.
Yeah. So
this is what it looks like.
If you on Facebook, when you go back to YouTube and rewatch or whatever, you can see our logo, Chocolate Crown. I think it's very powerful. It makes a lot of statements. It has the king and the queen in it. That was very important.
And it has all of our conversations that we will be covering. So relationships, love languages, healthy conflict, our youth and social justice issues. I may have missed something. I'm not sure.
No, even though it only has a few drips up there of chocolate, we're going to cover a wide array of topics. So get used to seeing these faces. We're going to be here with you every Sunday night trying to build up that chocolate crown, man, because it's rough out here. There's no secret. It's a different day and age. When you watch news, when you watch social media, things are strange. It's a strange time. I mean, just going outside with a mask on is just kind of strange when it's 150 million degrees outside. But everybody,
and even traveling and having to have a mask on and going to other places, of course the 95 corridor, but other places than what normally our travels are in, and to see that at least we have privileges of outside eating and going to a restaurant, even with some limitations. But we're able to do such, and that wasn't the case when we were in the DMV and the Be More Careful area.
Yeah, well, unlike a lot of news outlets, things of that nature, if we do have answers, we're going to try to give them out instead of just saying there's a problem with no solution. So please, and a lot of the people are very intelligent, but you got to stick to it every day. Get the turmeric, get the ginger, get the garlic in you, get the oranges, get the lemons, grapefruit, black seed oil, sea moss, get it all in you, man. You got to overdose on it because we've been under attack for a long time. This is nothing new to us. Everybody else around this country is just realizing you're real expendable. And we as melanated people, we've always known that these places, they think we're expendable. So we've always had to kind of take care of ourselves, going back to when great grandmothers used to whip something up in the kitchen and all that kind of stuff. Back on that. instead of running to these people who don't have your best intentions at heart. So get your
And they don't
turmeric,
really know our
ginger,
full
all
chemistry.
that.
They don't know our full chemistry in regards to how it is that we heal. And we heal the best through our foods and through the things that we put into our body. So you got to be mindful of what you do, what drive through you hit, and what the income is at, the outcome to your body overall. Yes, it's going to take care of the hunger, but what else is it taking care of or infusing?
Yeah, I mean, you got to treat your body like an expensive car.
Mm-hmm.
Expensive cars only run on really good gas, man. You can't put regular in it. So stop putting regular food in your body, people. Please stop it. We're killing ourselves. But we're gonna be entertaining. We're gonna be interesting. We're gonna be all that kind of stuff. So,
And let us
and
know if you guys are hearing. I'm sorry, Fletch. Let us know if you're hearing feedback, because that may just mean that we are unable to do both Facebook and Instagram at the same time. So let us know if you're hearing feedback. And if you're on Instagram, please feel free to come to either of our pages to engage with the stream. My Facebook page is a little different than my name. It's Mari, the butterfly love written together. And the butterfly love written together, and then Elisa on the back end. So my profile is public. You'll be able to join in. I see somebody trying to friend me, so that hopefully that's because they want to be involved in the conversation, and I'm all about that.
yeah, there's many ways to tap in so you can join in. You can comment. You can ask questions. You can do it all. This is not just about the two people you see and sitting here. This is
Yeah.
about all of us. I don't have all the answers, and I don't claim to have all the answers. I claim to be smart and intelligent. I try to, no doubt about that. But I
Right.
don't have all the answers. So first things first, I would like to thank you and Dr. Simmons for the invite this weekend to a very powerful topic, a very powerful message that was given. Um, I'm not going to go in detail, but shout out to you and Dr. Simmons. Also, the people who put it together, some brothers in the librarian community. They trying to reach out and get support and help for get as much help and support as possible from everybody. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because I'm not a part of the librarian community, but them are my brothers, them are my sisters. And I don't know if they looked at me the same, but I looked at them as if they were my brothers and sisters because they were crying out
Mm-hmm.
for what was going on in their communities back in Africa and in their communities in America.
Mm-hmm.
But but with them crying out, they don't know how to ask for help.
Right.
They don't know how to basically get out of their own way, put their pride, put their ego to the side to receive the help.
Right.
And all of us, none of us are perfect, but
Right.
me being on the outside looking in, there was a lot of things that I seen that it's not just the librarian community, it's all of our communities. And if we don't, like I told you before we started, if we don't stop putting that separation gap between our people, there's going to be no issue that ever comes up that we're ever going to solve because we're fighting from too many angles and not enough people fighting the same cause.
Right.
So you know, just to kind of bring the people in on what happened. You know, you had a very powerful session this weekend with some brothers about on the topic of rape, and that's a very heavy subject. That's a very heavy topic.
It
It's
is.
it's very uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable. But until we actually come together as one whole and try to start.
Instead of the silos, instead of being separate, instead of identifying however it is you identify in the community, if we come as one whole. I'm sorry, I just wanted to add that in there.
Yeah, please do. We just if we don't come together, and I broke it down as simple as this, and we'll go to our main topic. Um, the ants have been around forever,
Right.
ever. It's as simple as this. It's not hard. See, we as humans, we make everything so difficult. But the ants come together and they're tiny, they're small, but they can move mountains. Only reason they do that is because they come together. If
Right.
they're not together, they're this big. They can't do much. But
Mm-hmm.
when there's thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of them, they can actually move mountains. And when I mean
Mm-hmm.
mountains, is any problem that's in their way, they can handle. And we need to get out of our own way, start coming together and try to move this mountain because there's a lot of mountains to be moved and we can't move them on our own.
Right. Right. Okay, so we are hearing an echo. So what that means is that we probably, I don't know if you want to try the volume on the laptop that you have, because I did it on mine. Thank you, David, for joining us and letting us know. Because we're not sure. We only know what you guys inform us of. Okay, so how is that? Let us know if that's better as far as the feedback, because we want you to hear the content. We want to build our relationships in our community, and you're getting both point of views from both a female and a male, but we don't have the answers to everything. So we encourage you to engage with us and have a conversation about our topics when we meet every Sunday at 8 p.m. So I'm passing the baton back to you real quick.
so we go through a list of topics throughout the week of what we may want to cover and that kind of thing. And I like to equate a lot of things to movies, especially now because everybody is still in somewhat quarantine, I guess. Uh, so there's no movie theaters to go to. So everybody's on Netflix, everybody's on Hulu, everybody's trying to find ways to fill up that time that they had. So there's a movie out right now. It's called Little Fires Everywhere. I
Mm-hmm.
believe that's actually the topic. And
It's
Kerry
a
Washington.
series, I believe, not a movie.
Yeah, it's a series. It's actually
Mm-hmm.
a series. And Kerry Washington and Reese Witherspoon and a few other actors are in there. But it's relevant topic because our topic for this evening is talking about transferring hurt
Mm-hmm.
from one person to another, from an adult to children, from yourself to your partner, from whoever whoever's around you, that you are able to transfer hurt together. I mean, hurt too. So um, it was interesting that uh, you had a black family, you had a white family. I mean, they know what they're doing. They doing a good job of kind of fitting everything into the time. So basically, what I was going to go into about the movie is just a lot of times we can't judge other people's situations.
Right.
You know, we have to really work on our own situations because when we worry about other people's situations, you take away from your own.
And it's
Um,
no two relationships that are alike. They may have similarities, but when two people come together, they build their union for who they are together and in collaboration. And that becomes the power couple. No matter what challenges, whatever it is that you're dealing with, you become the power couple, but you still need relationship check-ins every once in a while. Even because you just may not realize actions or things that you say or do, or just habits that you've had in your previous life before connecting with this loved one that are impacting them in some particular way, that's causing a transference of hurt, or a transference of triggering them from something that may have happened to them in earlier relationships.
yeah, and I mean, you hit the nail on the head. It's crazy because as I was watching the movie, and everything is starting to unfold the way it was written. It wasn't written just in like natural chronological order. You know, they went back in the past, they brought it to the future. So
Right.
you got to peel back the layers and see the hurt of people when they were younger and
Mm-hmm.
how it just manifested and grew with them as they became adults.
Mm-hmm.
And like with anything, there was nowhere else to dump a lot of this hurt. So it gets dumped on their children. And both both children, both sets of children from both families, they thought the grass was greener on the other side
Mm-hmm.
because
Definitely.
this other mother or this other family is able to hide certain things that your parent can't hide. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you're in that house, you know, you seeing them with their guard down, you seeing them at their most relaxed. Um, and the other family, you don't see that. They dressed up, they put on their best act, everything. So you see their best representation of who they are. And for children, it's a slippery slope because you'll tend to judge your own parents. My
Mm-hmm.
parent is this, my parent's not this, my parent's not that, thinking that someone else's parent is better and they're doing better. And when
Mm-hmm.
in reality, it may be worse. They may not be doing well at all. And one very poignant point was Kerry Washington said, money just masked all your problems.
Right.
It just hid every dark demon that you had, you know, down deep. And when it explodes, it's when it's exposed, it's like a volcano. It's an eruption. It's everywhere. It's no reeling it back in. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So,
Just like when
um,
you say something and you say, okay, please forgive me for that, or I didn't really mean that way, it's already out there. Just like if you're in a court of law and they say, okay, strike that comment, you still heard it. You can't take away what your experience is and how it is that you're reacting to that. However, it begins to resonate and you begin to overthink it. And in you overthinking it, it does create the behavior or a response to your body of fight or flight, as well as a level of anxiety because you're constantly overthinking what your experience was. Even though they wanted to cancel out the statement was still said. So then you'd be like, okay, well, what did they mean about that statement? Or what can I do to correct it? Or, you begin to take some ownership. I want to say ownership in the therapist in me. But if we go into society type terms, it's like a blame. You take ownership for accepting the blame that someone is putting onto you versus really standing in your space and saying, okay, without that level of intentionality, like that wasn't my purpose. That wasn't my intention. I didn't mean to say that. That came out really spontaneously. And let me have a minute to kind of regroup so that the next words that come out my mouth doesn't come out and cause harm to not only you but to our relationship because it matters.
right, like a lot of things with people and ego and pride, we got to get that out of the way. We got to put that to the side because I mean, ultimately, it's doing nothing but hurting your relationship. It's doing nothing. It won't allow you to look at yourself in a real clear mirror.
Mm-hmm.
You're always masking something. Like you, for whatever reason, you know your darkest, deepest secrets,
Right.
and you may be hiding or think you're hiding them. You may be thinking you're putting on a good act in the show, but ultimately, especially when you have young people, there's nobody to protect young people.
Right.
There's nobody. So they act out in different ways. They put up different defense mechanisms. And really it's a cry for help, attention, and all of these things because as a parent,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no real rule book on this parenting thing.
Right.
Like you just gotta get out your own way and listen. When we grew up, it was do as I say, not as I do.
Mm-hmm.
And shout out to my mom. Shout out to Queen Ling, Mama Joe.
Wailing.
It worked. It worked back then. That
Mm-hmm.
worked for all kind of kids. We didn't question that. It was no really asking why.
Mm-hmm.
Now these kids are inquisitive. They want to know, why are you telling me this?
Right.
What's
Or
the reason behind it? And we can't parent by saying the same things our parents said to us. Because I know if my son asks the question, I'm giving him the answer to it. I
mm-hmm.
don't want you to go search and look for it somewhere else. That's not what I'm into. And if I can't give you the answer, I'm going to find it out, and we're going to go search and look for the answer. So we as parents, we got to get out our own way.
Mm-hmm.
Can't be prideful. These are your babies that are carrying your name to move your family legacy forward. So you want to give them the cheat code, everything you know and everything you don't know. You want them to have that. So don't just transfer over all the terrible stuff you have. Transfer all the good stuff you have as well. Transfer the beauty that's behind it. Even if you're hurting, because you know you're hurting.
Right.
You know you're hurting. So the kids need you to be the very best. And I know for me, when I work with young people, I'm on my best behavior because I know how much they're watching. I know how much
Like
they're,
a movie.
yeah, they're in tune. So we gotta take that in consideration as parents. And it's hard sometimes, man. These
Right.
kids are out of control. Just know I ain't sugarcoating it. These kids are crazy. There's no
Right.
doubt about it. But they come from us. So a part of that's in us. A part of you is in there. So you gotta really take time out, build rapport with your kids, study your kids, know when they off balance, all that kind of stuff, man.
So one of the things about kids is that they don't have the narrative or the language or the words or the filter and how it is that they say something. Like if they feel a certain way about something, then they're going to let you know. But the thing that adults often miss the mark on, and they're like, okay, how did I not understand that my child was saying this to me, is that they usually either isolate, they usually act out with behavior, and they may not do it at home. They may wait when schools were open to do all of this disruptive type behavior in school. Their grades could either excel, they either can, or was, decline in regards to if it's so many things happening in their living room, or if they're feeling abandoned, or if they're feeling like it's something that is actually happening, or if you have someone around them that's making them feel threatened. And when I say making them feel threatened, that they feel that they're unsafe with this adult that you think is a support, and you're leaving your children with them. However, when you leave them with them, it's something that's occurring during those experiences. The way that children will respond to that could be when they get to school and you get the phone call that your child was flipping chairs or not refusing to do work or using all these colorful words and language, and you're like, okay, but my child doesn't do that at home. They may not do that at home, but they see that at home. So, and the fact that they are experiencing it, and they're trying to, their energy in their minds and their hearts is very, very unsettled, and they're trying to make sense of it. And so, because they can't make sense of what their experience is to put words to it, they act out because that's what they know. And that's when they get positive attention, sometimes negative attention, but they get the attention of the caring adult that they're trying to seek to draw them in, and hopefully that you will stay throughout the long haul as opposed to pushing me further away. The thing is that when you push them further away, that's what they learn in regards to, it's still an echo in the back. Um, so it's still is what they end up doing in their adult relationships. They will have a successful relationship up until a certain point. When it's a conversation that they're not comfortable with or they feel vulnerable around, then they will enact the exact thing that they saw their parents do. Not what you said to do, but what they saw you do. So if they see you, and this is just a joke, if they see you avoid 800 phone calls, or they see you avoid, a call from a loved one, and then after you avoid that call, you start telling that person off, that's teaching them, okay, well, we avoid this call when I'm upset. This is how I deal with disappointment. This is how I deal with anger, and I'm just going to avoid it. But that manifests into anger, and that manifests into, you really isolating and acting out in other ways that also transfers into your adult relationships, that you never learn the key things. And because you never learn them, you just put a mask on, not the mask that we're wearing nowadays in the world. You put an emotional barrier mask, and you don't allow people to get that close to you because you try to protect your space.
Yeah, like parents just got to be mindful, man. You got to do a lot more modeling behavior. Your words don't mean nothing. The
Mm-hmm.
action means something. That's what they're watching. I've learned that in this 20-year journey working with kids and across this in some of these crazy cities that I've been in, and um, they're watching you. They're just watching you. So just build rapport. Know they're watching you. If you're a parent and you need help, get help.
Right.
And this is not the time. This is not the time where it used to be, where everybody is just, I'm not going to get help. I'm not going to talk. Find somebody to talk to. Call Fletch. Hit Fletch up. These ears are big for a reason, because I can hear and I listen really well. Like you
Right.
gotta, we gotta find somebody, because your child's life is on the line. If you don't fix what's wrong with you, it's going to get passed down to the child. It's going to get transferred to the child. And I mean, ultimately, we're here to elevate ourselves and the children that we bring into this world, the
Mm-hmm.
children that we touch, the children that we deal with on a daily basis. We want them to be better than what we are. I used to have a coach who used to say, "Leave the place better than you
Wait,
found."
pause for a second. I believe you may have your phone on a tripod. Can you move that tripod back a little bit, because people are saying they still are hearing an echo, and I want them to hear everything that we're sharing.
Me,
So hopefully you guys got to let us know if that's actually better.
I'm about to come off of that.
Okay, so the coach said,
No, well, he used to just always talk about leaving places better than what we found it. And
mm-hmm,
no matter where we would go, we wouldn't allow the cleaning people really to do the cleaning.
mm,
Whatever we messed up, we had to fix it. Um, so I think that would, that would go really well with our people. If we know something's wrong, man, let's start cleaning it up. Let's start getting a clear mirror, wiping it off, looking real deep in the soul, and start fixing what's wrong, man. We have to. Like I'm on my own self healing journey,
right,
and I'm saying it to everybody because it's working. You know what I'm saying? I'm in a way better space, mentally, physically, spiritually, and all that kind of stuff. So when you could take a look at yourself in the mirror and you start fixing certain things, and then you start reaching out to people who you know are intelligent and giving you
mm,
nuggets and gems to help you raise your crown and elevate your crown, because that's what it's all about.
right. So in the episode of the Little Fires, it was some elements that came up in regards to transferring hurt between generation to generation that you thought was like spot on for, what we want to convey in tonight's conversation. What were some of those things?
Um, well, I know I'll speak from a man's standpoint um, of you first, just strictly from the man in this relationship. It
Hmm.
was written. So obviously, the black woman doesn't have a father figure in the life. You know what I'm saying? That's
What
how it's
media
portrayed.
says.
There's no black man around. You know what I'm saying? So um, that's number one. Number two, the white man and the white family. He was there monetarily, physically, I think, and emotionally. He wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? He provided a lifestyle for his family. They had a nice house, that kind of thing. And he was the patriarch, so he thought it was on his terms. So the white family already had three children. The woman says she doesn't want a fourth children. They have
Mm,
a fourth children because he says it. And this is what he says. Four kids is easy. It's just like three. but he wasn't there for the first two.
Right.
When they rewound when they, showed the movie in the earlier stages, and shout out to McKeesport, PA, right outside the Berg, because part of the movie was shot there. But when they showed the movie when the kids were young, she was going through it. Like they're screaming everywhere. I mean, they took her to her breaking point, and to her boiling point. And as a man, he wasn't in tune with his family.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? He wasn't in tune to the fact that his woman is about to break.
Mm.
And you as the patriarch, you as the matriarch, um, you have to be in tune with your whole entire family.
Right.
He wasn't. I mean, you there with a woman every day, and she is spazzing out. She is,
Mm.
and you know, not to take it back to Will and Jada, but even in this relationship, she didn't seem really happy with the decision she made.
Mm-hmm.
So it affected everybody else. The fourth child, who was the child that she didn't want to have,
Right.
she treated this child awful. And the child was crying out for her from the time she was a baby. This little kid was crying to the roof. And as the man, he needed to be more in tune, more visible, more of when his daughter was doing what she was doing at a young age, he needed to check it right then and there, not let things fester and build. Like when there's a problem, when somebody's going outside of the lanes, that's a problem. When you keep in the car in the lane, and you have to because you got 4, 5, 6 people in one house. So there's
Mm-hmm.
some sort of structure. And they started the movie off. This white woman was so rigid. Everything was set every moment of their day. And you like, how did they get there? And then as they unfold the movie, you start to see how she got to that point where every minute of everybody's day that was in this house was accounted for, because early on it was chaos.
Right.
So we didn't know what made her get to this point until they showed the beginning of the movie. Like, okay, this is out of hand. And a lot of that hurt, a lot of the things she was going through, a lot of the pain, a lot of the trauma, it went in each one of the kids differently. I mean, she had a child who was acting like she was perfect, playing the perfect role because her mother wanted her to play the perfect role.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason she was doing it because my mom says I have to be like this.
Right.
Because mom's past was all over the place. And I mean, it was so many nuances. I would tell everybody out there, if you're listening, I would tell you to go watch Little Fires Everywhere. It's a pretty good movie to kind of digest, kind of break apart, kind of see all the little nuances that happen in the movie. I mean, it's pretty interesting. Kerry Washington is an amazing actress. I've never seen somebody control every muscle in a face like she can be. I can't I can't take nothing away from her. She's amazing. But there's a lot of nuances we can take when we talk about transferring children. It's just more parents got to be mindful, man. Everything you do is going to be given to your children, good, bad, indifferent. And we got to just be mindful of that, and know they're a sponge. They soaking up everything. I
Right.
mean,
Like
some of these kids.
if it's a separation, if it's a single parent and the one parent is no longer in the home, how it is that you connect with them teaches them a lesson on, how we deal with conflict, how we deal with being, mutually supportive and able to be around our children, because you had the children and they shouldn't suffer because of whatever disagreement. But even the entanglements that occur when it's just something that is your relationship is toxic, and the children are living that toxic energy every single day. So again, what they see, what they experience, be it intentional or unintentional, when they get to being an adolescent, it plays a part in how they interact with people in general, but even as they begin to navigate in dating whomever they're interested in, and then when they become, adults, those adult relationships, usually if they're in that college age, is one way. But then when
Right.
they're in leadership too, and having like a full-blown job, and say they're trying to get into that place of their role at their job, if they have had some interruption in life that causes them to pause, and they haven't dealt with it through counseling, through healing, or anything like that, it's going to flare up in that boardroom. It's going to flare up in that interview. It's going to flare up when you're asked to do a project and be a team member. If you
Right.
haven't really successfully been a team member in any other space, as well as it hasn't been modeled for you from home, then it just causes conflict, and it causes like what you're shaping their relationship to truly look like and how it is that they live. And so it's like you have to really be mindful. And it's almost, some parents say to me, well, am I on punishment because I need to do these things in a certain way? I'm not saying to not live your life, but just be mindful of how it is that you live your life, and your actions and behaviors and decisions, how that communicates to teaching your children. Even if you say for them to do the opposite, what they see happening is what they see practice, and what they go to school and in their other settings and practice what it is that they saw.
Oh yeah, listen, we know back back in the day, parents would tell kids, you listen, if it's a room full of parents, grown people, there was no kids around. There
Right.
was no, I mean, they was in the other room or something, but in the immediate vicinity, no kids. Like they understood what they were doing was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And now we got such a society where parents are doing everything right in front of their kids, right in
Mm-hmm.
front of. It don't matter what you're doing it right in front of the kids, and then there's
Right.
no explanation to have the kids rationalize. Well, I go to school and they say all this stuff is bad, but when I get around my mom and dad, they doing everything that they saying is bad,
And it's normal.
and it's normal.
It's their normal. So it's like, how are you telling me that my normal is not appropriate because it's what I know? And even if if we're going to go this deep, if you're child protective services and you pull a child out of what they know as normal and you place them in this new family setting, they're like, okay, but all right, what was going on in my house? And I don't even want to give no details because it could be a whole bunch of stuff. What was going on in my house? That's what it's always been. So why are you telling me that it's wrong? That's what I know.
Yeah, listen,
You
man.
know?
Especially when you get caught up with these agencies, and they come in your home and they judge you, and
They're not supposed to,
yeah,
right?
yep. You said it right. Stay out of grown folks' business, man. Stay out of stay out of grown folks' business. But we can't, like I said before, we can't do everything that our parents did. Like if we know that it's wrong, then we can't I got a few A whoopings growing up. I ain't gonna tell you how many because I was hard headed. I grew up in Palisades and Rankin and in Braddock, and I was hard headed, man.
Right,
So, but I chose I chose now just to be able to talk to my son, build rapport. Now, if I gotta grab him up by the shirt to get him to understand, because he got a big head like me and he don't understand, he's slow. He's my son.
right,
But I choose not to physically just whoop my son. No, like
right,
to me, I think I got enough verbal skills where I can get my sons to understand what I'm trying to get them to accomplish and why. And it's bigger than me. It's not about
right,
me. Because if it was about me, I wouldn't say nothing to you, son. I would just let you fall on your face. As the parent, I would just let you fall. But we got to check everything these kids are doing. Don't assume anything as a parent. Bust up in rooms. Like there's stuff that we as parents we letting. we letting kids get away with that. Our parents would have never let, like, doors are closed. Like,
I love
no.
when Queen Lean comes on and you saying your version, and she be like, "No, that's not the version I recall."
Oh man, listen, she's going to say that. She's supposed to say that because it's incriminating. It's incriminating. BJ vouched for it, man. He lived in building 3. I lived in building 7. He heard Queen Lean scream across the projects.
Right, right, right.
But we as parents, we just gotta be mindful. Like, um, like we can't. Oh shoot, sorry. We can't have bad behavior and then expect our kids not to model the behavior. That's crazy. Like, if you're doing something, your kid's gonna assume it's right and it's correct.
Right.
But like I said, we gotta make sure we checking our kids on everything, praising them for the
And it
good.
doesn't have to be harmful when you checking them, because
Nah,
it's it could be. I mean, I'm gonna go back to a statement that you and I are familiar with, and probably even some people who follow us. Right or wrong, weak or strong, and maybe not to the context of how we utilized it in Townhouse, but right or wrong, weak or strong, like, you learn through your mistakes. We've learned through different mistakes, but as we learn and we make a new decision, it's we have to say, okay, what did I learn from this situation, be it painful, hurtful, or it building me up, because I know on the other side I'm going to be a better person. You have to really,
I don't know what's happening with our Facebook is freezing right now.
back shortly. They can probably still see us though. That's the thing. So keep talking.
Yeah, um, but yeah, just like I said in the beginning of our conversation, there's no book, there's no rule book on it. Um, there's no there's nobody who's perfect. I mean, you go and talk to parents. You have to ask questions. You got to talk to your elders and talk to people that you know had good parenting skills. Um, because that's the only way we're going to do this thing the right way. Like, there's no doubt about it. It's hard. These kids are hard. Society is hard. Um, they taking parenting out of parenting. If you know what I mean, they stopping you from being a parent. Um, we're gonna apologize for the difficulties, but I'm gonna keep on rolling because it's just too important. Um, so yeah, just be mindful, parents, um, about what you are showing your kids, how you giving it to your kids. Put your kids around better people. They always say you are the friends you keep. You take a look at somebody's 5 friends, you could probably tell what kind of person they are and what they're going to turn out to be. So just put your kids around good people, modeling people who going to just influence them in positive ways. I mean, I grew up without a father in my home, but that didn't mean I didn't model myself after a lot of great men. Sam Timbers, Mr. Beasley, Mr. Larry. Shout out Mr. Larry from the center. He had us everywhere. Mr. Beasley, Coach Whitehurst, George Novak, some brothers in the hood, my older friends, Larry Jones, Ian Johnson. Um, um, it was a lot of people. Jimbo. Want to shout out to Jimbo. He gave me my first job in a barbershop. So I knew what I was missing. So I kind of put myself, and my mom put me around people that I can really take from and elevate. I've had coaches. I mean, that's why I fell in love with football. And I would tell people, get your kids around good people in sports. It teaches discipline. It teaches life lessons. Um, but be mindful. Be mindful about who you getting them around, because transference can come from anywhere. It could come from anywhere. So keep them around positive people, good-hearted people. Um, because they are sponges, man. And if they're around awful people and you're not there, you're not the barrier to protect your child. So no telling what they sucking in and bringing to your home, and not telling you that a coach said, that somebody, that they've been around, a teacher. I mean, we got to
Right.
check these teachers as well. I mean, I'm a black male and I was taught by a lot of white women and would tell my parent, man, she said this. And because they were in a position of authority, it was like I was wrong.
Right.
But now we starting to see these was awful people that were around our people. And that's not to diminish any role that we have in what we're doing, but we got to be barriers around our own people and protect them from transference from anybody.
So if we look at the relationship between man and woman, or partnership, however, people identify, what would you say from the male perspective that are probably some key things that they would need to focus on in regards to their role in not transferring hurt, or being aware of when they may have said something or they could do something a little bit different for the relationships that they are committed to, be it that they are currently committed, or that they have been committed because they have children, so they still need to stay in communication? What would be some things that you think about
That from a man's perspective,
from a man's perspective? And not that you speak for all men, but it's just your point of view to kind of
yeah,
plant some seeds.
listen,
I'm just,
I
from
ain't
the
never
butterfly.
speaking for all men. Nah, not me, not me. um, because some of these brothers are retarded. Shout out to Luch. That's another brother when I was a young man. And I met him at college. Just people you being around. But one few things I would say is, like, as men, we're very prideful. And if you have a family, your family is a representation of you.
Mm-hmm.
So my
And that's something
advice
that
is
parents usually say. When you go out of this house, you're a representation of me, so don't embarrass me.
the same thing. I wouldn't say it to my woman and my kids like that. I may give it to my son that way. Don't embarrass me, boy. You know what I'm saying? You got my name. Don't embarrass me. But with my family, I'm preparing them so that, you know what I'm saying, we're talking, we're building rapport. Simple as eating dinner. When you talking, you learn more about the person in your household.
Right.
Especially now, you've been quarantined, so you found out if you like the person you live with.
Right.
You found out if you really like your kids. Like, oh man, we got to take these kids back.
Mm-hmm.
So as a man, I'm modeling behavior. I'm the leader of this family. And
Mm-hmm.
and and the woman's the leader of the family too, so she has to model. And
Mm-hmm.
we cannot be afraid to check each other.
Right.
When she's modeling some BS, I gotta be able to be like, yo, babe, chill out. The kids is here.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm on some BS, babe, kids right there. You can't do that. Like, we
Right.
gotta be able to, and I don't literally mean hit each other, but I mean in the way
Thank you for
that y'all
correcting
do it,
that.
you gotta be able to check each other. And all of the I don't give a F and all that got to go out the window, because
Mm-hmm.
it's bigger than you. It's about these babies. It's about the kids. It's about the energy that you giving off in the world. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm building rapport with my family, and that's never going to stop because we're always evolving. Something's always happening. And if I'm the leader of my family, I need to know what's happening to everybody in this house.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody. That's the only, and they need to know what's going on with me. The kids don't need to know everything,
Right.
but they need to know enough as they're getting older. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't give a 3-year-old nothing heavy. But when they 16, 17, 18 years old, you got to talk to them like these are young men and women that
Right.
you're preparing for a world that ain't going to really care about them. If they don't know nothing, it's going to run them over.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm preparing my family to go out in this world. I'm talking to them. I'm giving them info. I'm a reader, so I'm making sure my family, everybody in this house is reading. I'm not going to be the only one reading books.
Right.
I'm not going to be the only one learning and trying to evolve. So I'm trying to make everybody else evolve. What's up, on now? That's another one. My aunt and uncle, when I was young, great people. I used to always want to be around my aunt. That's part of where the silliness comes from, because she's a comedian and she's dope.
Mm-hmm.
And but I and I watch my uncle, and you model behavior. You want something, you model it, and when they do it wrong, you check them on it and you get them back in line. Now, once they get to a certain age, they got their own mindset, but that's why you building it as when they're 2 and 3 and 4 and 5
Mm-hmm.
and 6 years old. Because my son will tell you right now, McDonald's and all that fast food garbage.
Right.
That's purposely. I've done that on purpose. I don't want him to eat now. He ain't missing nothing.
Right.
He ain't missing nothing. If he never eats a Big Mac in his life, he ain't missing nothing.
Right.
But if he wants to do it, he can do it when he grown. Because right now, I'm not giving him that meat because I care about him. So
Right.
as the patriarch, what's up, Hernandez? As the patriarch, um, I'm just leading by example. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not in my own way. When my woman is better at in something than me, she's taking the wheel and driving the car.
Right. And there's no
I'm
intimidation. There's no
yeah,
shame. It's how you guys are working things out and making your castle like powerful.
my feet's up. And I tell you all the time, women are better organizers, better paper with the paperwork and all that kind of stuff, man. And then let the men put their feet on the ground and get it dirty. Like we as men, we got to get out our own way.
Mm-hmm.
When that woman is better at something, and to the woman, when the man is better at something,
Mm-hmm.
you got to let them take the reins, hop in the passenger seat, and go for a ride and learn from it, bro. You're gonna learn from it because that person might not always be there. And in
Right.
every relationship you have, whether it's marriage, whether whatever relation, you got to learn from the relationship or it was pointless. If you look back in past relationships and you being a woman and you say, well, I dealt with this guy in 2004, I didn't
Mm-hmm.
learn nothing from that was pointless. That was a waste of time then.
Right.
But you
Because
went
you
through
not
it
only learn about that person, you learn about you. Be it,
yourself.
things that you allowed, things you permitted, things you forgave, things that you grew through that. I mean, and of course, the relationship may have been appropriate for whatever age of maturity that you were at that particular time. But the fact is that when you come out of a situation, the reason they say to be by yourself for a minute to kind of heal is so you can have that reflection time and really, really authentically look at, okay, what did I learn? What can I do differently the next time? What characteristics may, be changed or, altered in any particular way? And it's like you are holding yourself accountable. And then if you have children, or if you don't even have children, but you work around children, they're watching and listening to every single thing that you do.
Right.
So, being a mother in a village, I definitely know that they have come back. I have young people who are now in their young 30s. I know I don't look that old, but I have people in their young 30s that I worked with them when they were teens that come back and thank me for, just being consistent and authentic because it helped them mold how they deal with decisions, now in their adult life. Um, Go ahead.
No, go yeah, no,
Because I was
finish
just
up.
thinking from the woman's perspective, like they need to get out their own way and to not have all this rigidity around rules about what the expectations are. I believe that in a relationship, the two of you all should come to the table, not necessarily physically a table, it could be the couch, but come to an agreement with what it is that you feel is of value to you when you know that you're being respected, and just be vulnerable to be transparent that if there is hurt from a previous relationship, now of course you need to do this in regulation and at the appropriate time and with the person that you believe can handle this information, because you don't want to just go tell everybody, because then you'll only get to every relationship will get to a certain point and then you'll begin to do what you saw possibly in your living room, which is like self-sabotage or cut people off or just avoid it and then put yourself in containment of not even entertaining relationships moving forward. So for women, as you said, they organize stuff and they, put things together. Sometimes that comes with them overthinking and overanalyzing, and then that manifests into anxiety again, where they become enabled. And they become enabled because they can't make a decision. It's like they have the lizard brain. You know how the lizard is like looking this way, then looking that way, then it's back in the center, and then it does it again. It's like they're indecisive and unable to trust themselves. And the fact that they're unable to trust themselves and making that decision and sticking to it, you're also conveying that to your partner, that they also shouldn't trust you, because you're letting them know that you don't even trust yourself. So it's like you
hold that thought right there. See, me being a man, I wouldn't look at it that way.
Okay.
I would look at it like that's time I need to step in. I know my woman, one of her weaknesses is what one of her weaknesses is in this certain situation. I know my woman. So I might handle the decision making, because it for simple as what's for dinner? You ask her, you may never eat. So I'm going to
or
make
what you have a taste for. That's usually a good one.
so I'm going to make the decision for her, or give her two options. But already I know my woman, she's going with this one. So I know the pulse of my family. Like I wouldn't let my woman drown in confusion. I wouldn't let her do the lizard thing. Oh my God, which way? Nah, mama, listen, I got it.
Right.
Go do something else. I got this. Because you know your woman and you actually care about it. Now you got relationships, dude will just let his woman, I don't care, and she's skitzing, or he don't even have the skills to deal with a woman like that. And that's what happens a lot of time is people don't study their partner, know their partner well enough to know what their weakness is.
Right. Because the habits are consistent. They're going to consistently do the same reaction to either to one particular topic, or it may apply that they do this one particular thing across all things, and one or two may need a variation because the circumstances are different. But you may need to help them build their toolkit to either voice it, to feel vulnerable, and all type of things. I know one of the things in relationships is sometimes say, I don't want to check in, or I don't want to feel like I'm checking in with my partner. But really that day to day, and I think Fletch, you mentioned a few weeks ago, is so many ways that people can communicate throughout the day, either directly or passively. And I think that that's so important, depending on the type of work. But it's like, even if they can't get back to you right away, to know that they were thought about, or that you are probably taking something off of their plate, is a world of difference to the household and to the relationship just having a balance that is so meaningful. Because most of the times, and this can go in either side, both male and female, we take on way more and we put way more things on the to-do list than what it is that is possible. And if the partners are in tune with each other because they communicate, they can have those vulnerable conversations, they're not transferring hurt, because it's like, okay, I noticed that you needed to get this done, and I just took it off your plate. I got it done. Or, you need to go grocery shopping. What's the list? And they, go to the store and handle everything. Or nowadays, technology, order it online and have it delivered. It's just a matter of just stepping in and filling that gap, so that those vulnerable moments and the times that you're overthinking can be decreased, and you could be more present for your relationship and for you.
No, that's powerful. It has to be like that. I mean, it's about picking up your partner, the person you with, any relationship. If it's your brother and your sister, and you know your brother is weaker at this, you help them out.
Right.
That's point blank. Period. Get out yourself. Get out your own way, and help whenever you can. Especially in relationships, help when it's needed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When you see somebody stressing and confusion and indecisive and something's wrong. You don't have to always fix everything,
right?
Because some people need to learn how to do and handle and fix things on their own. But if it's causing real trauma and things like that, then it's necessary for you to step in. I would like to ask you one question before we get up off of here, because we are at almost an hour. If you can flash the logo again for everyone to see, um, I would
Up
greatly
close and
appreciate
personal.
that. Say that one
Okay,
more time.
here we go.
Yeah. So that's the Chocolate Crown logo, guys. We think it's very powerful. It's going to be on some merch pretty soon. So hopefully by next week or the week after, we'll have some t-shirts for you guys to start to purchase and follow. You're going to get a little walk into my little retarded creative mind as well. So as we keep going along, we're going to build. I also just want to say thanks to Mary again, for helping with getting this thing off the ground and running and started. And each week we get more and more followers. So I want to thank y'all. Shout out to y'all. Get at us if you have a Black-owned business. Please holler at us. We can talk about doing some promoting for you guys.
Absolutely.
I got some things that I got in the works, so maybe we could team up and do some kind of thing. But if you know any Black-owned businesses, people trying to get off the ground, anything of that nature, come through, because we're gonna build so soon. You'll see it on the bottom of the page, and it'll be promotion things going on. So yeah, just get at us, man. And yeah, once again, I thank y'all. I love y'all, and I appreciate y'all.
And again, if there's anything that we talked about, in today's conversation or any conversations that you catch on our YouTube channel, please feel free to, let us know that you would like to join a deep dive session to kind of pull back some layers and talk about something a little bit more. We currently do them on Thursday evenings, but, if you need flexibility, we are also flexible. So as you see coming across the bottom, it shows how to register for that. But you can reach out to whoever of us that you know and make it happen. So we look forward to episode 5.
This was 4, running from the 5th floor, like Martin used to say. And we're going to have episode number 5 next week. So see you next Sunday.
And if you have any suggestions or topics that you want us to talk about from the male and female point of view in any of those things that are on our logo or more, just give us a shout out. So thanks again for joining this week, and we'll talk to you next week. Peace. Wait, where are we on it? There we go. Peace.